Good evening, everyone. We'll welcome you to the Board of Selectmen meeting of Tuesday, August 6, 2024. This meeting is being taped by our good friends at Douglas Cable, and will please stand for the pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everyone again to tonight's meeting. Chiefs, do you want to come up? And is our firefighter Patrick Burgess here?
He is.
Why don't you come up too, sir? Good evening.
Good evening.
So, Chiefs, before I hand it off to you, I wanted to highlight to the townspeople at home and for the folks here today,
Okay.
a letter that we received from the Town of Uxbridge Fire Department from Fire Chief Thomas Dion.
Okay.
Dear Chief Furno, I am writing to extend my sincere appreciation to one of your members and to notify you of his quick actions at an incident in Uxbridge, which likely saved an accident victim's life. On May 14th, 2024, we were dispatched for a motor vehicle crash, car into a house. While responding, we were notified that CPR was in progress on the accident victim. On arrival, we noted a single vehicle into a house with one victim. One of your members, firefighter Patrick Burgess, along with Lieutenant Jeffrey Anger from the Hampton County Sheriff's Department, were witnesses to the crash. They quickly recognized the driver was in cardiac arrest, removed him from the vehicle, and began CPR. Upon our arrival, they continued CPR and assisted us as we set up and cared for the patient. The patient was revived in the ambulance after several shocks and rounds of medication. And as you are aware, the likely success of the shocks and medication is due to the immediate and continued CPR prior to our arrival. After a little more than a week, the patient walked out of the hospital with no deficits. Would you please thank firefighter Burgess for his extraordinary efforts on that day, and which contributed to saving a life? And notably, the patient is a resident of the town of Douglas. Congratulations, and thank you.
It's a great outcome.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how you even commend that. That's just incredible.
It's an awesome feat, and we're very proud
absolutely.
of firefighter Burgess. He's a very humble guy. He walked by our office, poked his head in. I saw an accident in Uxbridge. I witnessed it, and he kept right on walking. And that was it. And then I got an email with that letter in it. You know, so very humble guy. This isn't the first time he's helped someone in need. He was out in western Massachusetts, just driving by, and kind of did the same thing. So very humble about it, just goes about his business. Type of kid he is. He does the job, you know, when it's time, and, you know, we're proud to have him as part of the department.
very good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Glad we got
Nice
him in
that
our town.
Douglas residents are protected even when they go to another town.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's right.
Assistant Chief, you have anything?
Yeah, so again, I want to thank you for taking action and continuing to train and be active with our department and assisting our neighbors. We really appreciate all you do. And in recognition of your efforts at that particular incident in Uxbridge, we would like to present you with a unit citation medal for your Class A jacket. Again, on behalf of the department and Chief Furno, congratulations and thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Medals are one thing. We have here a certificate of commendation. And very quickly, it reads, the certificate of commendation is awarded to firefighter Patrick Burgess for recognition for his extraordinary efforts in saving a human life, which involved exceptional courage and performance. And it's presented to you by the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you very much.
You guys want to go up for a picture? Sure. Chief?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Allison.
Thank you.
You're around, you're
No, go ahead.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Sure.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak under Citizens Forum? Seeing none, we'll move right into number 5, the Conservation Committee appointment, Mr. Brendan Doyle. Is Brendan here?
Was asked to attend. He said he would be here.
Okay, so why don't we table that for a little bit and see if we can in fact meet him? How about for the Board of Registrars, there's an appointment of Donald Postma on our item number 6.
Yeah, he's over, yeah.
Come on up, Donald. Good evening.
Good evening.
How you doing? So, the position of registrar. Not really certain we, as a board, have much say in that, but you're here. You want to tell us a little about yourself?
I've been a resident of Douglas for close to 30 years now. My children grew up here. Actually, one of them served on the board last year.
That's right.
Maxwell. That's my wife looking for me. And me? I already bought that the other day.
Gotta make those cookies.
And I heard there was a need for a registrar because we were, what, a couple short suddenly, so I decided to, I was approached earlier this year, volunteered, there was some paperwork mismatch or that didn't get done properly, so now it's getting done, so because they're in a very urgent need because another registrar left the town. So that's why I decided to volunteer and help out.
Sounds good. Any questions from the board? Let's take a motion.
Make a motion to, you're looking for a motion to approve his
Appointment as a Board of Registrar.
appointment to the Board of Registrars, the Democratic Committee.
Second.
Made by Mike, seconded by Hal. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for serving.
Thanks for your time. Thank you for your service.
Item 7, this might be fun. Smashed food truck. This is a good food truck folk are here.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Desiree.
Desiree.
I'm Brittany. Nice
How
to
do you
meet
do?
everybody.
Heard you made quite a splash amongst my son's friends or cohort. Highly recommend.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they were,
They came to the truck?
they did.
Okay. Oh,
They did.
Awesome. Good to hear. Yeah.
Nothing but good stuff. So.
Thank you guys for that. That means a lot to us.
Yep, it really does.
What are you looking to do?
So we were inquiring to see if we could park at the fire station and a few other local spots in Douglas, like the VFW, Martin Park, the Municipal Center, like certain things around here, if there's events that we would be able to use those parking lots, the soccer field down there at the VFW behind it. Was there any other places that we were thinking?
The baseball field,
In the school?
oh, in the schools.
If there was an event and they wanted us to, go there or whatever.
We just wanted to get the okay now, just in case, things come up in the future.
Yes.
Thoughts? Go
A
ahead.
quick question.
Yes.
Are you suggesting for scheduled events or just randomly?
Well, for the fire station parking lot, we would say randomly, but we could also be there on any scheduled events to help, boost people coming in or sales or the car wash that they have annually, anything to help, bring in more money
Yeah.
for the town or,
Yeah.
and we would also, be inclined to, give a donation to the fire station for being in that parking lot. Kind of help each other out, kind of do good for our own town, you know what I mean?
You residents?
Yes.
Yeah, we both live in
Yep.
Douglas. I've lived in Douglas for over 20 years.
And I've been here for about 7. But we both have, I have 6 kids.
I have 5.
Yeah.
So very involved in the town.
Oh, yeah.
Are they
Very involved.
the future workers of the truck?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get a fleet of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Surprised there's
Current
any
training.
food left over.
yeah, literally.
All day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Conglomerate. Yeah, I think this is great. I think the townspeople will rally behind it. One
Awesome.
thought of the school would be, certainly get approval before we start, getting in competition with the cafeteria.
Yeah, we were thinking like, track meets, things like that bring a lot of people around, and they just, I think usually they sell like chips there and soda, like very basic things.
And Mr. O'Brien, at the end of the year last year, before we even started, had just mentioned that, if there was something going on at the school, would we be interested in going? So we figured.
What was it, the PTO? Like something, maybe come for the PTO and, do food, things like that. And we're willing to do anything to give back to the community.
That's great. It might not be a question for you, but the food and meals tax, is that something that falls under this? Would the town benefit from that alone?
I should think so, but I would want to check on it before you give an answer.
Yeah, because I did look that up myself as well. I believe it was 0.07%.
I don't think they distinguish between sit down and
Right,
sit down.
right.
My only recommendation, Mr. Chairman, is to obtain the permission of the school committee separately.
Okay, understood.
That would be respect for their control of their property.
Okay.
But as far as, you can come here every day.
We would love to feed everybody.
Do you sell ice cream? Because he's kind of a weakness on ice cream.
We'll add it to the menu.
We'll add it to the menu, add it.
But I do try to frequent local businesses, but at the same time, if you want anything different, we have to get in the cars and drive quite a ways.
Right.
I'm glad you guys are doing this and want to encourage you to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Means a lot.
There are a lot of things that we do at the fire station. We have toy drives.
Yes.
For kids in the winter, and those kinds of things, the presence of a truck really does have
Absolutely.
Yes.
the appeal, so I would follow through with that.
Okay,
Yes.
we
Yep.
absolutely will, certainly.
I had just noticed something on the business certificate application. The hours of operation, you have 7 to 12, and I don't know if that's really an issue, or should that be changed? Only because it's in writing.
Yeah, we don't usually stay open that late every
No.
week, and so far, we've sold out and been, I think, closed up by the
By like
latest-
8 o'clock,
Yeah,
8:30.
9:30, yeah.
Okay. I just can't, 12 a.m.
I think we did 12 a.m. to
Yeah,
12
never mind.
p.m., yeah.
Okay, yep. I
Yeah,
thought it was okay. I was going to say 5 hours, but
Yeah,
noon.
so if you wake up in the middle,
yeah,
People are coming.
yeah, exactly.
if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're hungry, just ride around and try to find it.
Yeah, just invite us.
You can always go to Haven Run, so.
Yeah, we would love to do like an employee lunch one day for you guys, or anything like that. Just let us
Get you
know.
guys
We
to try
will-
it out.
Say no.
Yeah, we would love to.
He's already convinced.
He's already coming.
Yeah. Les?
Yeah.
With ice cream.
Yeah, just through the chair. I think the only thing is making sure you coordinate with baseball board as well as the
Absolutely.
soccer board. Just so there's coordination, that's the key thing,
All right,
right?
okay.
Because just in case they're doing something different and stuff like that versus the scheduling, that's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Making sure everything's kind of scheduled out. Just, 'cause I don't know if the fire department has something, that they have to do,
Okay.
training or something like that.
So
or-
just check in with them first.
Yeah, that's what we do. Just
Okay.
respectful of all those, like the soccer board leases the VFW space, the baseball and softball, use those fields down there and stuff. So, but I think they're all would be more than willing and open to it.
Okay.
But, if they're all for away games, it would help to have,
Yeah.
you guys to come and they're all on away games.
Yeah.
I mean, just that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, on the athletic facility side, my only concern would be not to be in competition with the volunteer-driven concession
Yes,
stands.
right. Yep.
There's more than enough time in the schedule to have you down there.
Yes.
But just to be cognizant, be good neighbors, and I'm certain you're going to be.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I would be inclined to entertain a very liberal motion to give the good folks at Smash a good opportunity to set themselves up as a longstanding business in Douglas.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you so
appreciate that.
much.
Oh, sure.
So moved. I moved on it.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I did so moved. So
I was just messing with you because he was getting ready to do it.
We're all like,
It's very liberal when Ross says so moved and we say second. Let's just Exactly. So on that, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I think you have everything you need to be successful, and good luck to you.
Thank you
All right,
guys so
thank
much
you
for your
guys so
time.
much. We appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Okay.
Thank
Back
you.
and try it.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.
Item number 8 is the donation recognition sign regarding the Common Preservation Society's goal of recognizing donors. In our packet is what I believe is a draft of a sign. Good evening.
Good evening, Lynn Pereski.
Lynn, nice to see you.
Yes, very nice to meet you.
What are we looking to do?
We have a banner that we've been putting together every year for quite a number of years, and it's a recognition banner for any of the sponsors who donate to the Douglas Common Preservation Society. And that is our way of getting funding to go ahead and do the work we do up at the Common. And I understand there was an issue with having signage on the Common, and we were looking to have some flexibility so that twice a year, we're able to put the banner up for a very short amount of time. It's basically up for about a month and a half, and it's right on the road side of the electrical box so that it's not in the middle of the Common, and people driving by are able to see. It's one way to get those people to repeat their donations every year. And the second one, the second banner, is for Gloria Peters. She does the Cub Scouts Pack 134. She does all the wreaths every year for both downtown and at the Common. And she creates the same banner. It's basically a mirror image of the one we do, but it's strictly a memorial type of recognition. So people will donate $25 for each wreath, and they put a message on the banner in memory or in loving memory of so-and-so. And because of the memorial aspect, that encourages more people to donate for the town for the wreaths. And she posts hers once a year. So it basically would normally be July and December putting it up, and then it would come down about a month and a half later. So we're looking for permission to hang the banner. It's not an advertisement for anybody. It's strictly recognition and encouragement for people to continue helping the town by making donations.
Very good. Just for the folks at home, maybe, what does the Common Preservation Society do? Are you in charge of the lighting that's up there?
Yes,
The holidays?
the Douglas Common Preservation Society is a 501c3 nonprofit, and since 1995, we've had a mission of doing all of the decorating up at the Common. It started out with more than that. We were the group that initiated the gazebo and getting the historic part all put together. And then after everything was in place, we continued with all of the gardening up there and the decorating of the gazebo, the holiday lights. There used to be more activities, but at this point, we're just doing a lot of maintenance up there. And basically, it benefits everybody in the town, and it's been a good relationship over the years. So we're looking to continue that, and all of our funding is strictly through donations.
Absolutely. No, it's a beautiful town common, classic, quintessential New England,
you.
and you guys do a great job. I personally don't have any issue with this at all. I'm curious as to the rest of the board, if there's any reason to debate this.
It seems to, Mr. Chair, through you, Mr. Chairman, 9.31.4 special event signs, I think that's probably what this is, close to special events is the donation, seem to fit under that, and we'd have to give our consent or some designee of the board to approve it, but certainly for the benefit of the town to continue to support the beautification of the common, and we need money to do that, so we want to recognize the individuals and businesses, and there's quite a list of them here, that do support that.
I think it's a great, recognizing, you know what I mean, that people are donating into their community and helping preserve it, and it makes the town common look better. And I think it gives a good vibe to the whole community. So, it's a very positive thing. I think as long as the sign, where it's placed doesn't obstruct the sight line, which I think, that can be easily up there. You got bunch of locations to put it there, so.
Thank you.
Mike, Russ?
Yep. I have something. So you were unavailable at the last time they came before us. I appreciate everything that the society does up there, Common Preservation Society.
Mike.
The problem that I have with this, and I pointed it out last time, is what our bylaw says, okay? Hal pointed out 9.31 for special events. But there's two different sections. 9.3.1.1, charitable signs. No such sign shall be affixed to a tree or utility pole in a public way or on town property. Then when you go under 9.3.3, prohibited signs. However, at no time shall signage be allowed on memorial squares, cemeteries, telephone poles, shade trees, unless it's specifically associated with the normal operation of the site and purpose. That's where my problem is trying to get past the particular bylaw, okay? In theory,
What were you referring to, Mike?
Excuse me?
What section were you referring to?
The first section was 9.3.1.1, charitable signs, right? It says political, ideological, religious charitable signs, right? The last sentence addresses it. And then when you go to 9.3.3, prohibited signs, the second sentence, however, at no time shall any signage be allowed on memorial squares, cemeteries, telephone poles, or shade trees unless it's specifically associated with the normal operation of the site and purpose. And we discussed that last time, and I thought I thought we got past it because the town administrator had an excellent idea, which would give you a lot more visibility, was to put it on the town website to try to help promote your sponsors that you have that donate to it. Ignoring the bylaws that were put in place, I went a little bit further and I checked to see this. So if you look at the last page, it'll tell you that November of 2013 is when this bylaw went into effect. It was approved by the Attorney General. January 2014, 82 people attended that meeting in November, and it was as typical that, I'm sure, I didn't watch the meeting, but how the town moderator normally does it, is there any dissent in passing this unanimously? The signed bylaw passed unanimously. I'm a little concerned with ignoring a bylaw that was put in when it's very specific. It's not maybe or sometimes you can or whatever. It's very specific and deliberate in the statement. That's the trouble I'm having with it, and it's not popular. And I'm sure I'll get a little flack over it, but it is what it is. We sitting here, we have a responsibility. And that's all I'm trying to do is live up to the responsibility I have. I'm not trying to be difficult with you or anybody else.
I'm not taking it personally, Mike.
No, I'm giving you the courtesy and anybody else that's paying attention, as well as my fellow board members, to understand where I'm coming from. It's not to be difficult. I didn't write the law. I've been sitting on zoning since 2013. I don't agree with some of the things that are in there, but unfortunately, until they're changed, I have to adhere to what the bylaws say.
Now, the letter of the bylaws, it does pertain to the ongoing operation, because without the banners, we won't be getting the wreaths on the poles. So.
Yep, so that, again.
It is an ongoing
Yep.
operation.
In all
up
due
there.
respect, that's up to interpretation, right? That's not how I interpret it, so, or what my feelings is on it, as far as an ongoing daily operation. That's just me personally, right? I'm only 1 out of 5, so I only account for 20%, right? And I'm not looking to sway anybody's judgment. I'm just trying to explain so you understand. I'm not trying to be difficult about it. It's probably one of the nicest things that we have in town, that the town people can be proud of, and you as a group can also be proud of your accomplishments, okay? What, Les? You're waiting to say something, so.
Yeah, no, because it gets me to think of, signs and stuff like that, like, so, and I'll use VFW, for example, the soccer club and stuff like that, when they're a 501c3 as well. They collect donations for banners to advertise businesses to support and maintain the public space. I mean, that's the town's, it's leased to them, it's utilized for our kids and our community. I think this fall, it's very similar footprint, what's being proposed here. And I know other 501c3s in town that, use space in the community, have to fundraise and try to, project that,
Again, not trying to be difficult,
just pointing.
but I'm going to point out something that's very important. What's before us on our agenda is the town common. The things that you're talking about, I'm not aware of them, and they're not in front of us to make any decision on them. And we are by no means the police that run around town to find out who's got a banner. This particular subject is before us tonight. And I think I said enough about it. It's just how I interpret the bylaws. So.
Hal?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yeah, I think that it seems to fall in with the other section, 9.3.11, says display of expressions of political, ideological, or charitable ideas, this is a charitable organization, shall be exempt from the provisions of this bylaw, provided that no such sign shall be affixed to a tree or utility pole in a public way or around town property. But I would say the town property thing is brought in because they've received permission and they are not in any way limiting the use of the town property for anything. In fact, they're enhancing it. So I think what they want to do can be considered exempt.
I do too, and I frankly, I don't want to spend a lot of time with this. In fact, I'll move approval.
Second.
Yeah,
Motion.
well, before you go into it, I'm going to abstain from voting on this.
Reason why?
I just spent about probably 5 minutes explaining why. I think it's in conflict with the bylaw,
All right,
so I'm going to abstain from voting on it. You guys can do whatever you want with it.
All right, the motion's been made by myself and seconded by Hal. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? With one exception?
I can't say that I'm opposed, I'm still kind of, we
One way or the other.
do have a bylaw to stand by, and not just, our common is absolutely beautiful. I'm not gonna, but we're here to represent this. And again, it's interpretation.
Don't struggle too much over it, because it's basically already approved with 3 votes. So, trying to
Let it roll.
help you through it
Yep,
a little
let
bit.
it roll.
So were you yes, no, indifferent?
I'll go,
Abstain, vote yes, no?
I don't want to
I'll go
beat you
yes.
up, we don't
I'll-
have to.
I'll- I-
But
that's just gonna go.
we're just going to move
I-
that as approved.
yep.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Meeting minutes.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, don't forget to go back to that
Yeah.
that other thing.
Good point. July 2.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 2nd, 2024.
I'll second the July 2nd.
Motion's been made by Mike, seconded by Les. July 2nd meeting minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. On to July 9.
I'll make a motion for the July 9th meeting minutes.
Made by Les,
I'll second.
second by Ross. All those in favor?
Aye.
On to July 16.
I'll make a motion to accept July 16 meeting minutes as presented.
Made by Ross.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Les. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Moving back, don't dare look up because I do not believe he's in the room. And he is not. Does Conservation had acted on this?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
they did recommend.
Yeah.
Okay.
He, between Jen Kuchar and I, were in contact with him. He was supposed to attend. I sent a follow-up this morning, did not hear from him, but I can double check with him tomorrow. I'll try to get him.
With Concom's blessing and given the need to
Yeah.
get as many volunteers as possible, I would entertain a motion to approve his appointment.
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Made by Mike, seconded by Les. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Wojcik?
Answering a town email there for a second. Details. At all hours of the day. I don't know if I've already said this, but I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it because it came in a lot lower than I expected. Our fuel bids came back for the winter at $2.86 a gallon, so that is a substantial difference from the last couple of years and compares favorably to our budget. A lot of our projects are moving forward over the last week or two. We are pushing forward with the fire department, HVAC, and decoration. This is a decoration. I thought it was on, that's why I'm sitting here leaning into it. I have to turn it on? I don't want to be turning on my phone, because I'll end up making some sort of screaming noise. Long story short, we are trying to get this project at the fire station completed, and what we'll be doing is improving the air handling and the electricity connections inside the building, and upgrading the overall total level of service to the building so that we're modernizing the facility. We have a lot of devices now that need to charge, and we have very, very few receptacles and very few circuits on our service connection there. So on Thursday, the electrical engineer will be doing a walkthrough with the chief through the station to get final locations on different receptacles and fixtures. And I'm hoping to have this on the street in the month of September. This is one of the 3 remaining ARPA-funded projects that we've set aside money for. And I'm hopeful that all the bids will come in within the budget. The roof project here at Town Hall, which is a town meeting-funded project, is set to begin. In a way, it's already begun, so the pointing of the chimney, repointing of the chimney, and turning off the air handlers for the second floor, that's already been done. But on the 13th of August, we'll begin in earnest, so you'll see a crane out here taking those rooftop units off the top of the building, as well as moving a lot of the supplies that can be up there to be put up there. I don't anticipate any interference with the operation of the town hall. It doesn't hurt to look up once in a while. But they're really going to be working on structure and out of the way. We are going to take a number of preventive measures on the second floor to prevent any water that infiltrates into the building while the roof is being done from damaging anything up there. I think we're going to be moving some things around as well. Today, I awarded the security camera contract for Douglas Public Schools to E&E Security Incorporated They're one of the larger security camera installers in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, all their credentials checked out. It has taken quite a while to get them to demonstrate the equivalency of their equipment to the model that was, what we do is we choose a model that performs the way we want it to. We put it in the spec, and we say, it needs to be facetious for a second, a Toyota Corolla or its equivalent, right? So then the burden to demonstrate equivalency is on the bidder. So if the bidder wants to bid a Ford Focus and say that the Focus performs in some key metric exactly the same or better than the Corolla, then the bid is acceptable. The bid is rejected as unresponsive if the equipment doesn't meet the performance specs. The way we did our specs, we were talking about a specific resolution at a specific distance. So as long as the camera captures the level of detail that we desired at the target distances, it was going to be an acceptable application. So we went through a fair amount of back and forth about this technical specifications. So by way of budget, we will probably cobble together a package for a special town meeting in the fall to move one capital project from its designated purpose over to this purpose, and we may have to ask town meeting for some additional funds. The budget for the project was $225,000 worth of ARPA money and $140,000 that was transferred from a fuel tank project schools into this account, for a total of $365,000. The low bidder was $489 and change. So the school committee met in executive session and reviewed the security needs of the school system and directed the town to please go forward with the high school and the elementary school, and that will put us at $281,287, leaving $83,713 in the balance of that account. We will obligate and spend the ARPA funds first and leave on the table the town meeting funds, and then work to get to a solution in the winter, in the fall town meeting, and then a winter contract amendment process to get the rest of the funds in so the other schools can be done more or less at the same time and as one continuous project. The low bidder has not yet put in writing, but I expect to get it tomorrow, committed to maintaining their bid price through the end of this year. So if fall town meeting were to vote the funds, we wouldn't be looking at any price increases. The number we would give you would be the final number for the project. So that's my update on different contract activity and some of the projects around town. And I had only one other thing for the board tonight. I'm going to pass around two handouts. It gets tricky when I hand out stuff. So I'm going to send one pile around at a time. And if Lisa could keep a copy for the minute taker, she'll probably find it really helpful. The two handouts are actually the same thing. One is numbers for those of you that like spreadsheets. The other is a chart for those of you who prefer pictures. As we often point out, when the town is moving towards making a very big decision, especially a financial decision, it is not the role of town staff to advocate for one particular point of view over another. Our responsibility as town officials is to assess the condition of your community and provide you with the information you need to make a well-informed choice, regardless of how you feel about it, politically, ideologically, whatever, as long as you can refer back to what is actually going on in the town as a basis for your beliefs. So what we're doing here is answering the question, what is the impact of the town's debt on the taxpayer's tax bill? That is the specific question we wanted to ask and answer. Some of the attention that has been drawn to this issue is coming from the one vote plurality for the BVT debt exclusion vote, which happened just last week, 126 to 125. Now, I don't read too much into any community with only 251 votes. That's, barely a statistical splash. So you could actually, that subsample set may not be representative of the whole town because it's such a small number. However, it does indicate that people have varied opinions on what the impact of a debt exclusion is. When debt is excluded from the operational budget of the town, the taxpayer still pays for it. Excluding means, it doesn't mean that you don't raise the money. You do raise the money. You have to fund the debt service over the life of the debt. And in a high interest rate environment like we have right now, you kind of remember the rule of 3, right? So a rule of 10. So every 10 years, anything that's at 3% doubles. And that's a very handy rule of thumb. So when you start to think about how many millions of dollars do you think you can put out into a bond and what is the life of the bond, typically, really small debt issues are a bad idea because you end up spending way more money for that small amount. And you also, in Massachusetts in particular, since you don't internalize the debt into the budget, think about how the taxpayer perceives it. And the reason why I'm giving you this chart and these numbers is to make a point that the taxpayers' feelings about or understanding of the impact of the override in fiscal 2019, which was voted in 2018, is somewhat diluted by the impact of debt being retired. So the override is forever to the base of the levy of the town. So you raised that 7.5%, and then you kept that into the base, and then each year after that, you've added 2.5 on top of that. But what's been happening with the debt is the debt has been retired very aggressively over the same time period. So the part of everyone's tax bill that was raised to pay off debt is actually shrunk quite a bit. So your debt service in fiscal 2015, I'm in the upper left-hand column of the spreadsheet. The debt service the town had that year, so debt service is the amount of principal and interest paid in that year, was $2.531 million. And here in 2024, it's 1.983271. So your overall debt service has gone down by almost 25%. So the contribution to your tax rate, if you go over 2 columns, the tax rate before debt was added in 2015 was $13.57. And you added $2.89 to that to service your debt load. So the tax rate in 2015 was $16.46 per thousand. In 2024, the tax rate before debt was $12.27. And you added $1, we'll round up $1.25, so less than half coming from debt, because you've had debt roll off as you've paid off bills. And you've also had a refunding of one of the school bills, which had the tendency to reduce your total debt service over time. So the tax rate, or the base amount raised each year is up 53.2%, which looks like a big number. So your base tax bill that's before debt on your average home was $35.94 in 2015, and if 2024, it's $5,500. So that's going up a fair amount in a decade, so 53.2%. But that compares very favorably to 2 other statistics. The total assessment of the town, so the total value of the real estate base, is up 81.4%. The town is growing more rapidly than the average tax bill. and even the average home value. So we're taking all the commercial property out and looking at the average home value is up 69.4%. In municipal finance, what we often try to do is keep the tax burden growing at a rate that is slower than, when we can help it, slower than the growth in the value of the community and the average home value. Because property taxes are regressive by nature, so you want to keep control, that's what Prop 2.5 was all about, control the rate of growth so that as people build wealth and as the community has more of a stronger tax base, you're not keeping pace with that, you're actually lagging behind it. Because you know at some point, the other shoe will drop, the economy will slow down, the value of the town and the value of the average house will flatten, and you need a little bit of breathing room so that the town can continue to increase its budget for a brief period of time just to keep pace with the cost of doing business and providing services. I wanted that to be part of the baseline conversation as we go forward about the potential for different bond issues. I think it's been no mystery that we are working very hard to getting to a good conclusion and a proposal for the voters of the town to consider for a new highway barn, which is necessitated by a number of significant considerations, workplace safety, as well as preserving the value of very expensive equipment that we buy, and in some cases are storing outside because we don't have a good place to put it. That's a waste of money, frankly, and it accelerates the depreciation of the things you buy. It's not good management, so we're going to come and ask for that outlay. If at the same time the Select Board wants to consider debt issue for other purposes, whether it's for the schools or for roads or whatever, just recognize one thing, that because the roll-off of debt has softened the impact of the override over time, if you did a 2.5 to keep your budget up to speed, and then you did a debt issue that was going to add close to 4% to someone's bill, the taxpayer will react as if you hit them with a 6.5% tax increase. And that's the danger of trying to do too much with debt all at once. So, writing the exam book way in advance, while I may not feel that it is my role to take a position on any one issue versus the other, I will make a recommendation that goes this far. I would recommend that the board prioritize its spending on a major capital item and carefully consider them in series. So look at your number one priority. What is the impact of that number one priority on people? Do we want to stop, or do we want to go any further and ask for more? That is where I sit as one of your financial managers. Jean is away on vacation. We talk about this a lot. I think she has a similar opinion. One of the questions I asked when I interviewed here it's amazing to think that so many of those people that were on that interview committee don't work for the town anymore, or have passed away, actually. Yeah. But I remember having an exchange with Jean during that interview. What are you guys doing? Your debt capacity was completely soaked up back in 2017. And it's come a long way to the point where you can probably afford to do a project that you really need to do. But just because we're flush at the moment and the economy is strong and we have good economic development projects underway and forecasted, it is not a limitless supply of funds and needs to be very judiciously managed so that if things start to slow down again, you won't have to do things like reducing the building commissioner to 20 hours a week, things like that. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's a report. It's up to you, Mr. Chairman, if you ever want more detail or put it on the agenda for more discussion in the future. I'll continue to try to put this stuff out because I think it lays a baseline for a conversation in November at special town meeting.
Could you do this with a median house value as well?
Covered the average.
So, you like the average better than the median?
So there's, you want to ask a geeky question, you're going to get a geeky answer. So what you can do is ask the town assessor to provide you with that is a really loud air conditioner, what is called the order of value. The order of value will allow you to draw a chart that shows the statistical distribution of the values of the residential properties in town. And it is one of the things that every town administrator or manager should do when they get a job somewhere, is ask for the order of value and draw that chart, because it tells you a ton about the community. The community I worked in before I came here, there was a little mountain, and then there was a long flat spot, and a little bit of a spike, and then a long tail. So many of the homes in town were very modest value in that particular community. At the time, it was about $150,000 for a small ranch on a 10,000 square foot lot. But so much of the property was oceanside that way on the other end of the tail, you had multi-million-dollar homes built on the seashore. Douglas is an absolutely ridiculously tight bell curve around its average value. So while the median value might have some value in the seaside community like Westport or Tiverton or Little Compton, here, the median and the average are going to be almost exactly in the same spot, because
Most of the
within one standard deviation from the average here in Douglas, you've accounted for a huge proportion of the value of the town. There are very few small homes and very few very large ones.
mansions.
Right. That's changing, by the way, slowly, but it is still that way.
Les, you have something?
You see the debt service, I know it's hardly another report, but just what's been retired off of the debt service. Gene's probably got a whole thing, if we can share that with us.
Now, the treasurer would have that, so,
It should be educational for the board, so we know what drops off when, and,
yeah, so I'll ask Cheryl for that. It's already, I could probably circulate it as soon as I get back to my office after executive session, because it's something we look at all the time. I think our next one is 2030.
Yeah, it's just the educational for the community.
This debt is largely the new schools?
Yeah, so your biggest debt issue remaining is for the school,
The last big one we had was the school,
elementary school.
400 or 430 or something like that.
That's your annual debt service on it.
Yeah, high school, middle school, right, renovation.
Well, I bet you the dip that we saw in 22 to 3 is probably the last of the high school. It's my hunch.
No, we had a roll-off. No, you're right. There was more than one issue for that school. One rolled off, the other was refunded. But the other one is,
Be the new fire department?
No, I think that's
No.
long gone.
I actually think it was water.
Yeah, I think this is exactly the type of discussion that we should have, especially as we factor in potential new monies and some of the town's needs, infrastructure-wise, street-wise, personnel-wise. It's a good exercise to always put that in front of us and prioritize.
One more last thing, Mr. Chairman, and I'll stop talking. I just wanted to update you. We don't let a year go by where we don't apply for major grants. Last year, I think we were largely, the biggest reason for us not hauling in another huge grant was that we hadn't closed out the first one. That's, granting authorities usually like to see you finish the project before they give you money for the next one. This year, in our conversations with the granting agencies, it has been clear that they do not blame us for anything that remains undone. We have a punch list that needs to be done to finish the Northeast Maine project. We'll talk about some of that in executive session. That will not be held against the town of Douglas. We have already submitted, through Mr. Monaric's efforts, a MassWorks grant for a significant amount of money for North Street improvements, which would include some water and sewer improvements. We're encouraged by some of the feedback we've gotten from the EDA, the federal agency that has supplied us with a lot of the money for the Gilboa and Northeast Maine projects, that as the close of the federal fiscal year approaches, they still have some money left, and they are very keen on doing very discrete projects. So the idea of proposing, for instance, a water tower on North Street is exactly the kind of thing they want to do, because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there's a product at the end of the grant. It's not something that's buried that people don't see. It's something that they see all the time. So we'll be pursuing another EDA grant as well. So all in, we're probably looking at applying for $6, $7, $8 million worth of grants this year. I don't know if we'll be successful or not, but we've gone to this well because we have a compelling story, and we're going to work as much as we can out of that story. That would be the last thing, I guess. One more thing, Mr. Chairman. This video that we're making for the ICMA conference, our film date is August 26th. The goal is to have it completely wrapped up and ready to show people at the September 21st conference, sometime around September 13th. We're asking different people around town who have a lot of experience taking photographs or videos at high definition, it does have to be high def, if they'll participate with us. So we have a few inquiries out into the community. If anybody would like to sign a release and ride their horse underneath the stone bridge on the Snet over at Wallem Lake Road, that's one of the scenes that we want to feature with good lighting. Yeah, no galloping, just, I asked a lot of people, what's an image that evokes memories of Douglas? And a lot of people say, seeing the horses on the Snet, enjoying the trails. So we definitely want to have some of that scenery make its way. What's that?
Me and Hal could have a race.
They used to race on Main Street.
And if you're asking me why I'm looking for volunteers, because we have to get a signed release. If your likeness is going to be on a video, you have to sign over.
Mike's control of mine is,
Yeah.
real owners of the horse are going to decide that issue.
So if they have to play, paper, scissors, rock to choose who's going to do it, that's fine, but people were talking, so I'll repeat myself. Getting a signed release is important if your face is going to appear on a video that's going to be broadcast on a national stage. It's hard to do with people just randomly on the trail, so that's where I'm at.
Have you reached out to any other of our volunteer committee members? And the reason why I'm asking that is Becky Gallagher. And she's been involved in the Bay State Trail Riders for probably well over 30 years, done a tremendous amount of work for the trail system. She might be an appropriate person to have, and kind of something to finish off her career as she stepped down from being the president of the Bay State Trail Riders. So.
Clock's ticking.
All right, I am truly done now, Mr. Chairman.
Having said that, since we did talk movie, I did hear today that our movie EFES will have its North American premiere at the New York Film Festival. I don't know when, or I guess it's in New York, but I don't know where. But the producer emailed and told me that, and the whole cast and crew is very excited about that. So, Douglas on the big screen and in the convention hall monitors, wherever you may be. Anything, are you done, Matt?
Yeah.
You good? Anything not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting? Nope. Executive session. I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session for two reasons. One, the interest in real property at Rydell Road, and to discuss potential litigation revolving a contract closeout costs for the new Northeast Main Street, Gilboa Street project, and then to leave executive session for the sole purpose of adjournment.
So move.
Made by Ross, second by Les. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.